Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Wednesday, August 21st. Almost the end of the month. Deer season is coming for you guys that love to hunt. So I thought today's subject would be a little bit as it relates to spawns repair, but also in your personal life. And that is, well, stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back. Yes, it is. It is Wednesday, August 21st. This is the weekday show, Monday through Friday, available on podcast as well. Yes, I have my two dogs with me, both German Shepherds, Sheba and Shelby. Alright, so the topic today, we sometimes get bogged down with what I call bullcrap. We think it's really important at the time. Oh, we may think it's very important right now, but it ends up being a moot. And how does it become a moot? All right. One of the things, and I know you, Amos, will understand where I'm coming from, and I bet a lot of you folks out there know where I'm going to be coming from. And that is, like 30 years ago, it's 27 years ago, I was diagnosed with cancer. And when they diagnosed me, all I heard was the word cancer, and everything afterwards was a blur. That's why you always take somebody with you, right? So they understand what's going on. But it brought my life into perspective, and it changed how I looked at things. I was always the hustle, working. Things that I thought were important end up not being so important. Family became more important. See, I thought I had all this time left to do the things that I want to do. And when you get a diagnosis like that, or you have a heart attack or something medical that can shorten your life, you got a different perspective on things, right? Now, as time passes, you start to go back to your old self again, right? I never did. I've always taken every day as a thank you, God, for one more day. Even if it sucked. At least it was one more day here with the kids, the grandkids, and friends and family. But some of the things that I pulled away from it was, no matter how much money I have or had, I can't take it with me. All those trips and vacations that I was planning in the future, I wished I would have done years ago. It's until you have something like that, a life-changing event happen to you, you don't really. What I found was a lot of the things that I thought were really super important ended up being bullshit. That's the simplest way I could put it. Petty and bullshit. Petty in how I felt towards other people that had wronged me or this or that. And the best way to get back at somebody that's wronged you is just don't give them the time of day. I always felt what comes around goes around, and usually twofold. So if you're putting out good vibes and you're doing good things, you're probably going to be rewarded twofold. If you're not, sucks to be you. Because when the chips fall, you'll find out in a hurry who your friends are and who your family is. But that all depends on how you've treated them over the years. Have you been a narcissistic bastard? I've said so. You're sucks because you're going to be on your own. So why the topic? Well, because, my feeling is we should have beaten cancer by now. There's a young lady, when I say young lady, she's 40, and she's battling breast cancer. She got 3 kids, young kids. And she's a positive influence. You can say what you want. Some people, you tell them something serious, medical condition, they just curl up and die, right? I've seen that so many times with cancer. And one of the things that got me through was I had a positive attitude, positive outlook. Said, Lord, if this is the time for me to go, take me. But if not, I'm going to go kicking and screaming. No ifs, ands, or buts. And the big thing is I remained positive about everything. I didn't look at what ifs. I looked at what can I do right now to make my life and the people around me, their lives better. And I'll tell you, it just, in our area, if you get diagnosed with cancer, it's kind of somewhat of a death sentence. I hate to say it, because when I was diagnosed, they wanted to do chemo radiation. And I was lucky in a way, and the good Lord looking out after me was He, through my wife and the family connections that they had downstate, ended up getting me an appointment with the head dermatologist down in New York City. And she was wonderful. But the average person in my area would not have access to that. I shouldn't have access to that. But yet, doors opened, all right? But when I went down, I figured she would be telling me the same thing. We need to do chemo and radiation, and it's going to be, because I'll be honest with you, chemo and radiation, for what I've seen, is worse than cancer. I mean, if the treatment doesn't kill your cancer, well. So on my first appointment with her, after getting myself all settled into, I'm going to have to go through treatments. It was malignant invasive melanoma, and I had it right here. She looked at the biopsy, and she looked at what I had, and she said, I think I can get that out. I said, what do you mean? She goes, I think I can surgically remove that, and because I don't think that it's progressed as far as the people up in the North Country do. And she said, I would like to set up a surgery to have it done. And I'm like, yes, go ahead, get it out of me. So her office called the following day to say that they had set up the surgery for that day, since she knew I was traveling from upstate to downstate. It's a 6.5 hour drive, but my in-laws lived right down in Yonkers, so it wasn't so far to stay at their house in an apartment and travel back and forth. So I went for that appointment. I got to tell you a funny thing. My wife, with her mental health issues. She was on a medication called Klonopin or something, and it was for anxiety. And she knew I was anxious with the surgery and everything else. So she told me to take one. So I ended up, it was Janet Pawlowski, I think it is. She was wonderful. And she said, okay, I can do the surgery right now. But the problem I got is we don't have a plastic surgeon. So a plastic surgeon for what? So that there won't be any scar. I said, just get the friggin' thing out. I'll tell everybody that asks. I was in a bar fight and you gotta see the other person. So she just kind of laughed. She said, okay, Eric, let's get started. So, and we were doing it as an outpatient, okay? But that Klonopin that my wife gave me actually put me to sleep, and I slept through the surgery. And she had commented to my father-in-law she had never had a patient fall asleep during a 2.5-hour surgery. She said I was snoring like a baby. Did I have to go through all the running around follow-ups? Absolutely. I did follow-ups with her for, I think it was 6 months. And then she transferred me to Buffalo, to their cancer treatment, Roswell. Beautiful, wonderful people. And they treat the patients like kings. Anything your wants or needs, they're there. I can't say enough good about them. And they give me a green card. And they said that green card will get you access to anything you need here. Hold on to it. And even when we transfer you back to a dermatologist in your area, if you ever feel it isn't right or you need to come back, just call us, give us your number on the green card, and we will get you in to see our dermatology department for malignant invasive melanoma. And there's a teaching college too, I think. Yeah. But that all happened because people made it happen. And I think the good Lord helped make it happen. And I'm cancer-free, been now for some time. But the key to the video today is not about having cancer. It's about getting your life in order and looking at things differently. Even for a week. Take a good look at what's going on in your life. Are the people that you're fighting with really worth fighting with? Or is there something else, a distraction causing the rift? You know, did somebody say an off-the-cuff remark that they wish they wouldn't have? Very possible. But my tendency with people, instead of holding grudges and everything else, you know, what do they say? You get me once, that's on you. You get me twice, that's on me. I was never like that. And I learned around that time that sometimes you need to forgive. I'm not saying forget. I'm just saying sometimes you need to forgive somebody that has wronged you terrible. All right? And this is not for their benefit. This is for your benefit. So that it lifts the burden off from you. You know, I can give an example. You know, when my grandmother died years ago, us 4 kids, we were basically orphans, you know, but we were now of age and had families. And she had a will, and the will was split equally between the 4 of us. It's the way she always had it. She had stuff marked in the house of where she wanted it to go. But on her deathbed with morphine, my brother had taken into the hospital, because he worked there, a new will, and had supposedly had her sign it, and had two of the nurses on staff witness it while she's on morphine. Now, I forgave, not for him, but for myself. All right. Now, my two sisters are just the opposite. They will not. They still hold that grudge, and I'm telling them, it's hurting you more than it's hurting him. He doesn't give a rat's ass. All right. He's not in your life, and I'm not saying they'll allow him into your life, but at some point you need to forgive yourself. Lift that burden and move on. Now, I'm not saying to become friends with him or invite him for family functions and stuff like that. No, not at all. Again, when you forgive, it's for yourself. So I'm going to start wrapping this up. The key to today's video is take a good look at your life right now, all right? And if your life is great, that's super. Is there room for improvement? Yeah, there always is. But if you're struggling and you're misguided, and when I say misguided, I mean in looking at outlook. What would happen if you were told that you had a death sentence? You had a week to live, a month to live. What changes would you do? What things that are on your plate that you feel are so important, how do they measure up then? And the biggest key is don't put off doing enjoyable things for later in life. As you get older, you're not able to do a lot of the things that you could when you were younger, all right? My stamina isn't anywhere near what it was when I was in my 30s, But that's what happens, when we get older, we're full of wisdom, but physically we can't do what we used to do. So a lot of those activities that you wanted to do, and that you're working towards being able to do, you may not physically be able to. Or, worse yet, you're not here to do them. Don't put off doing something nice today thinking that you have a lot of time left. Because when the good Lord says it's your time, it's your time. We talk about heaven and hell. I think where we're at is hell. And heaven is where you, like a monarch butterfly, you go from one stage to the next, all right? So, but why not make it enjoyable here while we're here? Learn. I mean, I remember, thinking that, you're either here to learn something or you're here to teach something. And it could be both in my case. But what I found is since then, I've been doing a lot of teaching, girls, mentoring, and that. So maybe that's why I'm still around. So on that note, you guys have a great Wednesday. This isn't a downer. This is a positive thing. Just think about things that if a doctor told you had a week or 2 weeks to live, I'm not saying go out and max out your credit cards and have a hell of a party. Can you imagine if I had done that? I'd have been in debt up to my yin-yang, right? No, not at all. I'm just saying that certain things that you think that are really important become very minuscule, is what I'm getting at. So on that note, enjoy your day.